How do you find the strength to get out of bed every morning when all hell is breaking loose? And wipe your own tears out of your face, because you got nobody else to wipe them but you. That he will not allow the enemy to send anything into your life that is stronger than his power is upon your life to get you through this moment in your life.
If I have learned anything in my time traveling the world, it is the power of hope. The power of one person. One person can change the world by giving people hope.
As thy days are, so shall thy strength be. As thy days are, so shall thy strength be. The tougher the day, the greater the strength. In other words, I measured the day before I released the strength, and I am sure that I gave you enough strength to get through whatever this. Because he trusted you with trouble. Because you passed enough tests that he knew you could handle it now. Because he's going to show up in your life in a way that he's never showed up before. And yes, you may have more trouble, but you're going to have more glory, more anointing, more blessing, more wisdom. More of this means more of that. So when you see all hell breaking loose, understand that the angels are coming from every direction. You have to trust God when he says no.
You're making this way harder than it's got to be. If you're trying to make it in this world without God in your life, you're making it way harder than it's got to be. I flunked out of school. I had a severe stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I lost everything I ever owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. You can't tell me nothing about what he can't do for you. I've been bottomed out. I'm talking about flat bottomed out. Nothing.
I still believe that things can turn around for me. I still believe that this is not my final position. I still believe if I lose this job, there is another job for me.
You have to trust God when you didn't get the job. You have to trust God when your child didn't come home. You have to trust God when he says no.
At the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over.
Tears and struggles and pain, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances.
It's easy to get bitter, hold a grudge, lose your passion, kiss the person that left you goodbye, kiss the dream that didn't work out goodbye. God wouldn't have allowed it to happen if he didn't have something better up in front of you.
So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
Life is hard. For every time you have a plan, a dream, an aspiration, or a goal, do you know what happens every time you have one of those? This thing comes along called life.
Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision.
The definition of lunacy is to keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So why are you doing what doesn't work?
It's never too late to begin again. No matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, it is never too late to press into a new beginning.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
The enemies that you see today, you will see them no more. No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper.
I'm tired of doing what I used to do. If I always do what I've always done, I'll always be where I've always been. I'm going to throw it behind me.
Letting go of what lies behind. We've all got a past. Thank God we've all got a future. Don't you believe that lie that it's too late for you. Refuse to be trapped in the past.
You can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. For years, I was going around with a heavy load on my shoulders, feeling bad because I was adopted. You weren't given away less, you were chosen with love. Same circumstances, same event, but reinterpreted. An interpretation that empowers me. Am I making sense to you?
You can start heading in the right direction by having a brand new attitude toward life. You're hurting yourself if you're living an isolated, lonely life and living in fear of ever being involved with anybody. But you know, you really only have two choices. You can live your life disappointed, or you can have a new beginning. That's our only option.
So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing.
There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end. The key is how we handle the closed doors, how you handle the people that treated you wrong. Sometimes, instead of kissing them goodbye, we smack them goodbye.
And so one of the rules is, if people are impeding your development, you sacrifice your relationship with them. It's a very, very rough rule.
If giving him a piece of your mind hadn't worked in the first 15 years, wouldn't it be a good time now to change strategies? Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness?
It takes guts to take that first step and say, here we go. I'm accepting the possibility that I might fail. I've failed at so many things in my life. That's just the way it goes. But you know what? At least I can look back and say, at least I tried.
Life has disappointment. It's got peaks and valleys. You're going to lose somebody you care about one day. That's a valley. Somebody going to fire you for an unjust cause. That's a valley.
But right now, you're being tried. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test.
Separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. A lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life.
Fight on. Fight through the storm. Fight through the pain and come out the other side stronger and better. A survivor, a winner, victorious, free from that storm.
An enterprising person is one who sees opportunity in all areas of life. To consistently take advantage of the opportunity that you've created, to be aware, to face life with your eyes and ears open to the possibilities that may be just around the corner.
What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points?
Creativity to look at the world a little differently. Creativity to be different. And what goes hand in hand with the creativity of self-enterprise, the courage to be creative, the courage to see things differently, and the courage to go against the crowd, the courage to stand alone if you have to, understanding your self-worth, how valuable you are.
Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Find some trusted critics on where we are falling short. Tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects.
What could you do if you had all the skills, took the classes, read the books, What could you do? What true value could you develop? Once you start understanding how valuable you are, it's a whole new experience. If we don't feel good about ourselves, we won't feel good about our lives. And if we don't feel good about our lives, we won't be very interested in looking for opportunities.
Let's say you're miserable and unhappy. Here's a cure. Find what's valuable and let it go. So we could say, well, maybe it's a relationship that you have. Maybe it's a relationship with your parents. And the relationship is pathological, but you're locked into it. You value it. And no wonder, because it's a relationship with your parents. And you're suffering terribly because of it. Well, what do? Maybe you let it go. It's a sacrifice. And the idea is that, well, that'll clear the future for you.
Success isn't in the having. Success is in the doing. It's the process of doing that brings value. It's the activity that transforms our dreams into reality, that converts ideas into actuality.
That the tougher the day is, the greater the grace. The more tenacious the dilemma, the more equipped the believer. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying.
Come on, man. I lived in a car for 3 years. I had nothing, but I made a decision, man. I just started talking to God every day. I just started asking him for help, to hear me. If you call God and you ask him to hear you, he hears you.
That most people get caught up in the distractions of life. Look around and praise God, because whatever you've done is only the tip of the iceberg possible for you. Yes. Look back, thank God. Look around and praise God for all the possibilities, all the things that's looking at you, waiting for you to take advantage of. Expand your vision for what's possible for you. To decide that your circumstances are not going to define you. Make a decision. This is a pivot point. This is a deciding moment that you've had it living life as you've been living, and you want more because you deserve it. You deserve it.
You can get self-help at the bookstore, but sometimes self can't help self. You can get motivation from the motivationalist, but sometimes you cannot motivate when you need a miracle. You can get socialization in the club, the sorority, the lodge. We do socialize, but it's more than that. We do motivate, but it's more than that. We do encourage, but it's more than that. What we give here that is unique to us is food for the soul, is fight for the fighter, is bread for the eater. And for them that have no might, if you can just get to the word of God, you can tie a knot and hold on. Because people see the outer display of your gift, but they do not see the inner pains that go along with being who you are. And it is not just me alone. There are people out there right now who look at your life and they just fantasize, saying, I wish I had what she had. I wish I had what he had. I wish I had that opportunity. Just look at the person next to you. Don't they look good?
I can change, you can change, the other people in our life can change, our finances can change. There's nothing that cannot change. Don't look at any situation and think this is hopeless, this will never change.
Believe that it will happen. But there's nothing more powerful than your faith. When you believe, when you expect things to change. I know healing is on the way. I know the right person is in my future. I know what God started, he's going to finish.
And yet we have such a tendency to lean toward what's wrong and finding the fault. But we can change that attitude.
We all have a reason to be sour. Don't let that talk you out of what God has in store. You wouldn't be alive if there wasn't something amazing in your future. Can your faith be seen? Can anyone notice that you're expecting to go to a new level? Are you talking like it's going to happen? Thinking like it's going to happen? Believing like it's going to happen? God is passing by. But if you're negative, I don't see how it'll work out.
Changing our mind, changing our attitude so we can have the best life. Things can change. Everybody shout out real loud. Anything can change.
What do you want? What do you see for yourself? Look ahead. Listen to God. Look ahead. What do you see for you? Look beyond your circumstances Expand your vision. Become clear about what it is that you want. What is it that you want for your family? What is it you want for your health? Look around. Does it feed you? Does it fuel you? Does it motivate you? Does it inspire you? Or does it drain you? Does it deplete you? Is it compromising your power, your circumstances? Very important.
When things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. It's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. Let me tell you, that doesn't mean give up. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the war path.
Look ahead. What is it that God is calling you to do? What's in your heart? What's in your heart? Because where your heart is, there your treasure is also. What's in your heart? There's a calling. You were created on purpose, with a purpose, for a purpose. You're still here regardless of what you've gone through. You're still here regardless of what you've done and all the things that you've done that you shouldn't have done. You are still here for a purpose, for God's purpose.
What's the biggest problem? Explain where you are at. Be blunt, be upfront, and then give them the simple plan of how you're gonna get things back on track. You give it to them straight, right? You're falling behind at work, talk to your boss. Face it. Tell him you're gonna get after it. And tell him that you're 100% committed. It won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is.
It's time to reflect and meditate, journal, and pray to God. Look back and thank God.
These challenges that you face, they're going to do their best to take you down. Let those challenges raise you up. Let them elevate you. Let their demands and their trials make you stronger. Let the adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow. So in the future, you look back at these struggles and you say to them, thank you.
If people are impeding your development, you sacrifice your relationship with them. It's a very, very rough rule.
If giving him a piece of your mind hadn't worked in the first 15 years, wouldn't it be a good time now to change strategies?
I don't want to be enabled in my brokenness. I'm looking for some friends who will empower me. Empower me to think bigger. Empower me to get a new vision. Empower me to get back up. I am not a victim, I'm a victor. And my present situation does not define my potential destination. Life doesn't happen to me, life happens for me. I'm gonna keep on moving forward so you can save your sympathy. I don't need your sympathy. What I need is your strength. What I need is you to sharpen me. I'm not a victim, I'm more than a conqueror.
What we should do when somebody does us wrong, forgive them and let it drop. Leave it and let it go.
Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness? When people can walk away from you, let them walk. When people can walk away from you, let them walk.
So impose on yourself this self-development of being in charge, taking charge of your life and your health and your future and your responsibilities and all the rest. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family. That's not a requirement of society, but you must make it a requirement of yourself. Reasonable time is enough time to achieve all of your goals. Just jot that down. Reasonable time is enough time. Here's why. It's not the hours you put in, it's what you put in the hours. The ideas you can't think of now, a year from now, they'll start to flow. And when you deposit those ideas in the hours you've got, productivity multiplies by 2, 3, 5, 10.
I don't want you to try to talk another person into staying with you, loving you, calling you, caring about you, coming to see you, staying attached to you. I mean, hang up the phone. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. Tears and struggles and pain, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances.
The ability to learn to say no and not to feel guilty about it, to me, is about the greatest success I have achieved. It's all a part of a process for growing for me. To me, to have the kind of internal strength and internal courage it takes to say, no, I will not let you treat me this way, is what success is all about. I will not be treated this way. I demand only the best for myself.
Maybe somebody's talking about you, trying to make you look bad. You could easily be upset, offended, try to pay them back. Why don't you try a different approach? Drop it, leave it, and let it go. It's easy to get bitter, hold a grudge, lose your passion. Kiss the person that left you goodbye. Kiss the dream that didn't work out goodbye. God wouldn't have allowed it to happen if he didn't have something better up in front of you.
So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
You literally are your surroundings. If you have a problem with your life, you should have a problem with the people in your life. You're going left, and they're going right. You're going right, and then they go left.
Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision.
The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't a threat. Oh, get ready. Favor is about to turn things around. Favor is not going to keep you from the storm, but favor will bring you out of the storm.
What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit and you want to give up? Sometimes you can be blessed and be unhappy. Because even though things are going right, they're not going according to what you had believed and expected, and you know that something is missing out of your life.
Discouragement is born when we compare ourselves with somebody else. Just think about where I came from. Just think about what God started me out as and where I am today. And it's encouraging to not compare yourself with others, but to remember how far you've come and where you started.
It's never too late to begin again. No matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, it is never too late to press into a new beginning.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. Does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed.
The enemies that you see today, you will see them no more. No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. I'm tired of doing what I used to do. If I always do what I've always done, I'll always be where I've always been. I'm going to throw it behind me.
Letting go of what lies behind. We've all got a past. Thank God we've all got a future. Don't you believe that lie that it's too late for you. Refuse to be trapped in the past.
You can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it.
Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
I fought a good fight. I fought for my kids, and I fought for what was right, and I fought for my good health, and I fought for a good career that would bless my family. I fought a good fight. The encroachment. Opposites are in conflict, and we're in the middle. And if you want something valuable, you got to fight for it.
You can start heading in the right direction by having a brand new attitude toward life. You're hurting yourself if you're living an isolated, lonely life and living in fear of ever being involved with anybody. But you know, you really only have two choices. You can live your life disappointed, or you can have a new beginning. That's our only option.
So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing.
There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end.
Not only have I fought a good fight, I fought a good fight, and I kept the faith. See, that's the deal. Keep faith with your family. Fight like crazy and keep faith. Fight the enemy and keep faith.
You have comeback power when something happens to you. Don't buy into what has happened to you. Buy into, I'm getting up out of here. I'm going to change this situation. This does not work for me, and I don't have the luxury of being depressed. I need to clear my head.
But right now, you're being tried. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test.
So why not just go for it? After all, it hasn't hurt you so far. Of course, the reality isn't quite that simple, but it's not as simple either as thinking that just because you're older, things are now going in the opposite direction, and that while you used to want to do everything, you should now want to do nothing. No, reality is by no means that simple either. There's a saying that I heard in church. That saying was, you have to lose your life in order to find it.
A champion doesn't become a champion in the ring. The becoming happens during his daily routine. The practicing, the developing, the discipline that when applied consistently can get you to the next level.
When you live like this, when you get up early, when you go the extra mile, when you have painstaking attention to detail, when you live like this, when you devote yourself to your craft, when there's a sparkle in your eye to change the world and live your heroic potential, you'll be called a freak, an oddball, a misfit. But just remember this, if people don't misunderstand you, you're not playing at your personal genius.
Take your seed, take your gift. Get away from these people that's in your life that ain't doing nothing. Get away from people in your life that's hating. Get away from your family members that ain't ever opened a business. Get away from them. Don't die with this gift and don't never use it. All of y'all got this wonderful gift, but you gotta use it.
Where are the warriors that say, I'm gonna make a decision and I'm keeping it? And regardless of how you feel about it, it doesn't matter if the world is crumbling or down around you.
Just do the thing every single day, whether you feel like it or not.
You've got to fix your strategy. If you've been doing what you've been doing for 5 years and it's not working, it doesn't mean you need to give up your idea. You might need to give up your strategy. Your strategy of accomplishment has to change with the times. The person who wants what you have is a person who sees what you have as an answer to their problem. People will go get answers. They are not looking for problems. What do you solve with what you bring? And you don't have to have a degree to do this.
You should go and live your dream. Just go see. Your real life is not in your current situation. Your real life is not in your paycheck. Your real life, he tucks it away in your imagination. Everything you imagine is a preview to a coming attraction. Once you understand that and quit looking at your imagination as hocus pocus, it opens up a wide range of things and possibilities. That simply means everything that's in your imagination is a preview of a coming attraction that God has for you. That's why when you tell your imagination to the wrong people, it don't go nowhere.
When we look at other people's success, and we start creating all of these excuses as to why we're not successful like them. Whenever you live insecure, you will speak like a victim. And when you're a victim, you give away your power. Listen, I'm not trying to condemn you. I'm trying to confront you. Some of you tonight, you need to get sick and tired of living in this place. There is no person above you. When you're insecure, you're addicted to man's approval. Yet what you'll find with insecure people is the more that they get man's approval, the more they want it even more. And when they don't get man's approval, they become even more toxic.
Habits are the building blocks of our lives. It's what you can do every single day that matters more than anything. Devote yourself to something bigger. Be decisive about what you're going to do. Say, I'm going to do it, and that's it. And then be disciplined about getting it done every single day, whether you feel like it or not.
Letting it go so you can grow. Develop compassion for yourself despite your human defects. You will never be perfect. You will never be perfect. You're human. You've made a lot of mistakes. Guess what? You're not through yet. You're going to do some more. Hurry up and get it over with. Got to learn to be gentle with yourself. Make it all right. What you don't know, mistakes that you make. It's okay. Handle it. Learn from the experience. Decide that you are to be up front, to be true to yourself. Are you getting what you need out of it?
Are the things that you're doing, the people that you're hanging out with, and the places and the circles that you're traveling in, does that reflect a person that actually loves themselves? You know that they don't like you. You know what they're saying about you behind your back. You know they're jealous and envious of who you are and the things that you got going on in your life and your career. And because you're so desperate to have people around you and in your life, you continue to go back.
A person who has purpose in their life, they have something to go for, some meaning. If you have a list of high purpose in your life, it pulls you toward the future. And the more powerful the purpose is, the stronger it pulls.
If you are looking to any human being to meet all your needs, you're going to be severely disappointed because nobody can do that. Only God can meet all your needs. If you are looking to any human being to keep you happy, you're going to be unhappy most of your life. Human love runs out. Human people disappoint you. So you better put your happiness in somebody and something that cannot be taken from you. You need to look to God.
Because what was appropriate as a system is now inappropriate because I have outgrown the way I speak, the way I understand, and the way that I think. I am bigger than the system. The system can't put me away. I must put it away.
This idea that we see other people above us, but when we look at ourselves, we're beneath, we're lower than. Nothing will hold you back more than insecurity. Insecurity kills more dreams than failure ever will. Some of you are like, I'm a failure. I don't have any dreams. You're lying to yourself. You didn't even try.
If you don't have these strong purposes for the future, it's easy to get swallowed by a bad day. So if you want something to pull you through all kinds of challenges, all kinds of difficulties, and things that come at you, you got to have something on out there, beyond today, that pulls you into the future. And the clearer it is, the stronger it pulls. The more dynamic it is, the more it affects your life, your spirit, your heart, your soul. And if you have good input, like good ideas, I'm telling you, there isn't anything you can't accomplish. That is purpose.
See, all of us have greatness within us. But when you don't come to grips with your greatness, I'm saying that you're positioning yourself to be a miserable person. How else do we do it? Procrastination. We just put things off over and over and over again. Why? Because we haven't accepted it. We don't feel deserving. So we sabotage ourselves by not ever taking care of business. We get real busy doing a lot of things where we don't have any time.
And if you will allow anyone, any voice on the inside to talk you out of this moment, you will forfeit it and be stuck washing your nets when there's a great drought of fish waiting you if you have the courage to believe.
I become confident when I get the right view of other people and I get the right view of myself. It's amazing, right? You ever notice that arrogance requires advertising, but confidence speaks for itself? Insecurity, cynicism, and arrogance, they're all loud, but confidence doesn't even have to speak.
Where does self-confidence come from? Self-confidence really comes from feeling good about yourself. And one of the best ways to feel good about yourself is at the end of the day to know that you poured it on. You did your best. At the end of the day, when you've really poured it on and you've done all the stuff, self-confidence grows. That self-confidence affects your health, it affects your future, it affects your psyche. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. Self-confidence means willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve. That starts to develop unbelievable self-confidence.
Let me say something to you that none of your haters will ever want you to know. You are much closer to your dream than you think you are. It could happen much sooner and much bigger than you think. And it is your ability to begin to believe and get real clarity of perception, of time, believe it's going to happen sooner, that will get you to act faster and be less distracted by the feedback or the weather that happens while you're on this run. It is much closer than you think it is. And it's your ability to begin to bring, not only get clear about what it is, but bring it closer.
Self-confidence also comes from the ability to rise above your circumstances, to rise above what happens, the petty little things, the discouraging things that would sink everyone else's ship except yours. That kind of willingness to overcome all circumstances.
Why spend the rest of your life being miserable, frustrated, and insecure, not really feeling as good as you have a responsibility to feel? Feeling good isn't just an opportunity. Feeling good is a responsibility that we all have for ourselves. I don't remember the last time I lost sleep over a hater and the things that people are running around saying. Why? Because I know exactly how I feel about me.
These haters out there, they exist, believe me. I have them all over the place. I've had them all my life. Some of the haters in your life are the best at trying to pretend to be concerned, aren't they? They're pretending to give you feedback only to lead you in the wrong direction so you lose. And so the real haters know how to pose as critics. And so it's your ability to distinguish between these two people that's going to have everything to do with whether you succeed. Keeping the haters in your life around you and letting their feedback and criticism affect you in a negative way could steal your dream. And they are dream stealers every single time.
I know what's happening. I know who I am. I know what my intentions are. I know my heart. And more importantly, God knows my heart. So for it to appear to be this, appear to be that, and then you running around saying whatever you're saying about me, that's fine. You have a job to do. You're bored. You have nothing going on in your life, so you're focused on my life.
Confidence has to do with inspiring trust, which you can only do by having faith in other people. Confidence enables you to walk into a room full of strangers and converse with anyone without fear. It makes the strangers in that room think, here is someone I not only can talk to, here's someone I want to talk to. An ill-at-ease person makes everyone around him ill at ease. Feeling right makes others feel right, and they in turn give back what's inside them, the very confidence that you give out.
Because when you can start saying yes to loving yourself, you start to realize just how far you're able to go. And I wish people knew that the ability to succeed, it's all inside of you. And I hope and pray that for all of you, at some time in your life, you'll realize that the best version of yourself is so beautiful and so amazing. And yes, people may not accept you all the time and they may hurt you, but I don't want you to keep that in, because you were meant to be a certain type of person, and there's somebody out there in this world who needs to see you for who you are.
I don't care how pretty you look on the outside. I don't care how much you dress it up. I don't care what kind of makeup you put on it. Insecurity on the inside is one of the ugliest traits that you could ever walk out. It's just not who you're called to be. There's so much more in store for you.
Well, I'm going to be selfish and take care of myself more, which I haven't for a decade.
I'm going to tell you what, you owe it to yourself, everybody. Right. Whether you've been wounded or not, right, wherever you are in life, because the fact of what you just said, you got to remember this. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of the other people around you.
Right.
It's confidence that makes people want to believe what you say to them, want to accept you as you present yourself. So confidence is not some little thing. It's a powerful force that can grow in power and flourish.
If you don't care at all about pleasing other people, if you're only living for yourself, you're a narcissist. So there's nothing wrong with wanting the approval of other people. But like all of God's good gifts, what is a good thing in your life, a legitimate need, can be misused. You have a need for food in your life, it can be misused. Everybody agree with that? Everything that God gave us as gifts actually can be misused if we don't handle it correctly.
How do I learn to believe in myself so that others will believe in me too? A truly confident person's belief in himself is strong enough so that he's able to believe in others. Conversely, distrust in yourself breeds distrust in everyone you meet. A confident person gives you confidence. She creates confidence in others. The strength of her character makes you a stronger character.
If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If somebody who had come from the bottom and got to this position I'm in told me that this is the way I would try it, if I was you, I would try that. I bet you it'll work, though.